At Studio. I think I'm live. All right, I'm live. Hey there, everybody. Wendy Klinke with Blue Cat Studio. It is good to see you. We are going to be painting this succulent today. Welcome to the Spring Fling. So if you are interested in getting the tracer, this is what it looks like. It's just a quick outline of the succulent. Go ahead and text me at 855-737-2245. Again, that's 855-737-2245. When you text me this, you will immediately receive an autoresponder that has the link to the tracer so that you can get started. So I'm gonna take just a couple minutes to kind of get us going here, let everybody join because a lot of folks knew this was coming, and I just want to make sure that we don't like get going so fast. And so that way, if you're looking for the tracer, now is a really great time to pop in and grab it really quick. And let me also make sure that this live is being shared out to all the right places. Here we go. All right. I'm going to have a little bit of studio. Uh-oh. I think I'm live. All right. Here we go. All right. That's better. All right. Here I'm trying to like watch this video and do this thing. And I'm going to have a little bit of... Okay. All right. Well, let's get started. So once you've gotten your tracer thing, you want a tracer, you want to go ahead and trace it onto a canvas. I'm working with an 8x10. And so as a reminder, we are going live in actually a couple of different places. I'm hoping Yvette will let me know when she's forwarded it into the group. So we're doing the Spring Fling, and there's a link in the top of the live where you can join us. And if you want to comment and interact with me, please make sure that you're clicking directly on the video so I can see your comments. All right, Yvette says I'm good to go. Hey there, Hamidou, good to see you. All right, so again, get your traceable design. Just text me at, let's put this here so you guys can keep seeing it, 855-737-2245. There we go. Now everybody can see it. Hey there, Connie, good to see you. Hey, Yvette. Hey, Hamidou. Let's see, and then we have a few folks watching from the other section. All right, so what we're going to do to get going is we're going to get some cadmium orange. Now, it can be really any kind of orange. This is cadmium from Deco Art Americana. This is just a Blick student. All right, I gotta adjust this, don't I? A Blick student orange. You could even use like a burnt orange or a persimmon, just something that's going to tone the canvas. We really like toning the canvas. It's kind of our thing. So I'm going to use this stuff because it's very transparent and it's going to allow me to actually see the tracing underneath. And that's going to be kind of important. Oops, and hey, why don't we get let's try and get the speed version of this as well. So I literally just kind of squeeze the stuff on, get a quick toning. And the reason we do this is I really love it when that little bit of orange just kind of peeks through. And it gives the picture just a little bit of extra vibrance. Succulents are always fun. I feel like my kid is going to take one look at this and be like, Mom, I want that for my room. Oh, okay, you can have it. So you don't have to have like a perfect coating here, although I want at least some coating, but it can be very thin. You can even add a touch of water to just kind of spread it out. In fact, that might have been a good idea, huh? There we go. So now that I've got that basic coating, do you have something to offload on? If you don't, just make sure that you've got some kind of like junk mail or something that you don't really love where you can just wipe the excess pigment off your brush. I find it really, really helps. Again, there's a lot of things I just sort of do, and if I forget to explain them, I apologize in advance. I'm gonna also give this a little wipe with my paper towel just to kind of lighten it up and let it dry a little bit faster. So again, if you have any questions along the way or like, why is she doing that? Do let me know. I'll answer. Doing best I can. Again, you'll have to click directly on the video in order to comment so I see it, and then we're good. And while we're at it, I'm going to turn the time lapse on so y'all can see the 15-second version of this once we're done, because sometimes that's a really great way to kind of see what's going on. and get the big picture overview. All right, and starting that. Okay, good. So this is almost dry. I'm just going to take my little heat gun here and get it all the way dry. Now it's going to be very hard for you guys right now to actually see the design, so I'm going to go over it with some paint. So the colors we're using, we've got kind of like a dark dioxazine purple or a violet. It's a really nice, it's just a nice one. I have desert turquoise as an option. The one I usually default to is mermaid tail teal. If you cannot find mermaid tail teal, Folk Art has a really nice peacock teal. I always want to say peacock tail teal, but it's peacock teal. Let me try not to mess that one up. I generally use the ultramarine blue. It's a really beautiful, just deep cobalty color. Quinacridone magenta. I feel like the Liquitex Basics is the best one. I like it above all others. And then some kind of like a greenish yellowish color. So we have the Deco Art Americana yellowish green. Another one I really love is the green gold from Golden. This one is not cheap, but what it is very transparent. So it's a beautiful mixing color. I really like using it to mix. Okie dokie. And then of course, if you have some fluorescent, fluorescent is always amazing, right? Okay. So let's get some, oh, and white, of course, always white. No black. We are skipping the black today. We are usually skipping the black. If I can help it, I'm skipping the black. So I'm going to squeeze some white onto my palette and then a little bit of this dioxazine purple. And these are kind of our base colors for toning them. Oh, Holly says the live broadcast is weird here. Holly, you might want to catch me directly on Blue Cat Studio. I've got a couple of, I've got another stream into another group just because, yeah, because I'm still figuring the technicalities out. I just started using Creator Studio and some of the stuff. So I'm gonna grab a thinnish brush, a fine liner. I'm gonna lick it just so I can get a nice point on it. And I'm gonna kind of take some purple over here, and I'm gonna take a big hunk of white. Now you're probably gonna be getting a lot of white, and we're gonna mix a light purple. Almost like a pale lavender. I guess if you had lavender, you could just use lavender. But if I make you break out too many bottles, you're just gonna kind of want to kill me. So I'm trying to keep things under control. So hey there, Cindy. Hey there, Diane. Oh, Diane's a newbie from Arizona. Well, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. So if you want access to the tracer, again, just text me at 855-737-2245, and you will get an immediate response back. I just set it up to make sure that it would send it to you even if I'm live on the air. Usually I try and respond to those personally, but if I'm painting, you'd have to wait till I'm done painting, and sometimes speed is important. So in a couple spots here, since I rubbed this down, I can't see all my lines, so I'm going to kind of pull my tracer back just as a quick reference. So I know I've got kind of like this shape here and a little one here and here. And so what I'm doing is adding light outlines, because each of the tips of the leaves, are they leaves? Are the succulent things, are they actually leaves? I have no idea. The things, they're actually a little bit thick and they have highlights on them. So we may as well just kind of block in the highlights. So this is going to be one of those kind of projects that really evolves, and we're going to need to be kind of patient. Trust the process, right? It's going to look a little ugly for a while. Hey there, Donna. Thanks for joining. Okay. So again, I'm just kind of looking at what I got. So this one here is kind of a double layer, slightly folded one. And I got another something going on behind it. So I'm just literally going over my tracing with this pale purple color. And so we're going to kind of block in the lights because they'll really help us see what's going on. Block in the darks and then continue to layer. So lots of layers today. But I was able to kind of whip out my first trial piece. Actually, both trial pieces. Of course, I always paint this a few times, you know. Like, you gotta make sure you kind of know what you're doing and you're trying to get it right. I did both of them in about half an hour, but that was me speed painting. So I think we should be pretty good for time today, getting this done in an hour or less than an hour and a half. I'll just leave it at that. But again, if you are joining me brand new, whether you're inside the, oh gosh, Yvette, okay, it's Old Times Paint Party. You know, I should have written all this down. I've been so discombobulated and frazzled today. I turned in my brief for my master's thesis today, and it was up till like 2 last night, so I'm sort of like, you know, this girl's all over the place. Hey there, Pam. Thanks for joining again today. All right, and then I've got a little something here, a little something here. And actually, that's not a highlight, that's a low light. So again, I'm literally just going over my trace lines so I can see them. Now they're kind of popping out. Now you can see them. Hopefully that helps. So you can kind of see the concept of a succulent forming. And you can even make those edges thick, right? They don't have to be perfect and pretty because in fact, most of those edges are thick and we're going to be doing a lot of painting over them. And I'm going to do like a little extra thick piece right here in the center. Check my reference photo here. Not that it's going to look like the reference photo, but I at least need a few hints. I'm just thickening a few spots. And I think we will, this guy. So this one right here, we're going to kind of come in and add a little extra. There we go. And again, if you guys have any kind of questions or want to know what's going on, just pop them in the chat. I'll respond live as best I can. If you want me to see the chat, you do need to click directly on the video to bring it up so that I can actually see it. All right, almost there. So again, I'm just adding a little extra thickness in a few spots because each of these is actually tipped with this sort of color. And so we're wanting to emphasize that and really make sure it shows. If you're new to me, I hope you found me through the Spring Fling and hopefully you're having fun, you know, seeing all the other artists. Today, I'm actually participating in this whole big Spring Fling thing. Oh my gosh, that like rhymes. It's not quite alliteration, but it's almost like reverse or backwards alliteration. Where there's going to be all kinds of presenters. I think there's 7 of them total today, and we've got 4 days chock full of cool projects. So again, now that we kind of know where the stuff is, we're just adding a little extra thickness, and you can be a little sloppy. It's cool. Again, you know, if I'm holding this guy up here, you can kind of see where I'm just adding a little emphasis. And so on the tracer, I have these double lines, and that's really, I didn't trace those double lines in, but they're there just so you kind of can visually see what's going on. Because, you know, sometimes you sort of lose the whole gist of what's happening when you trace too much. Oh, Pam wants to know, did I paint the canvas? What color? I did just like a basic orange. You can also do like a raw sienna or any old kind of burnt orange, cadmium orange, whatever. Doesn't really matter. Hey there, Tammy. Or do you go by Tammy or Tammy Lynn? You'll have to tell me. All right, again, sort of running out of my light purple paint. But again, this is just, you know, dark purple mixed with white to create that kind of lavendery color. And I actually do have a really huge piece right here. See? And this line is actually a shadow piece, which I just kind of put in to remind myself. So I think we've more or less kind of covered it. I went a little lightweight in this section, so maybe I'll add a little bit more, just kind of emphasize that. Again, we're not done. We're going to be layering and layering and layering. So now's a good time to set aside your little tiny itty bitty skinny brush because this canvas is way too big to do everything in little. So quick rinse. If you're using one of these, oh, you go by Tammy and Tammy Lynn. Very cool. Well, welcome. It's good to see you. And you're new here. I love meeting new people. So if you're just joining my live, if you're interested in getting the tracer, just text me. Guys, especially my inner circle folks, and those of you who are like, what happened to your texting app? Got a new one. This time we are committed fully to it. 855-737-2245. You will immediately get a text response from me with a link to the tracer that you can download. Okay. Hey, where's my reference photo? I'm going to be winging this sucker. Okay, let's get some, so we have some purple. Let's grab a larger brush. You can go, depending on your canvas size, with like a medium size flat. This one is like a 5/8 inch, or you can go with a round. think I'm going to stick to round today. And I'm literally just going to take some raw, straight up purple. And we're going to start to fill in the shadows. Now that we have the highlights, we can see where those edges are. We're going to add the shadows. Okay, and so we've got kind of a deep shadow surrounding this middle piece right in here. So it's going to be right in here. Hopefully that makes sense, like kind of right in the middle. And kind of filling in parts of this guy. And if you want kind of a rule of thumb, think about just adding some shadow kind of at the base of each of these, they're not petals, but they feel like petals. Each of these leaves, sort of where it kind of tucks underneath and then emerges out. Now you don't have to do a pretty job. We are just, again, it's kind of like we're still toning the canvas, adding more dark to it. And so we're going to come in and kind of get along in here towards the center, because here's a leaf. But this one, because it's kind of cupped this way, we're going to have a little bit more of the darkness here. And I don't know if you can tell, but I'm putting a really light coating on. This is not meant to be the be-all, end-all final color. It's just meant to, again, add some hints about where the darks are, where the lights are. And that way, you know, when we add more dark color on top, it doesn't have to compete with the orange. Oops, I'm sitting in a way that's making my leg shake like a crazy person. And when my leg shakes, it makes me feel like I'm nervous, but I'm not nervous. We're just having fun. Alrighty. Okay, kind of coming in. So can you see the logic of how this is going? So in the succulent, if each of these is the petal, then kind of at the base right in here where it tucks underneath the other petal is where we're adding the darkness. And so you can almost just kind of lather, rinse, repeat. Let's see, we've got kind of a shadow forming with this one. So I'm going to bring the dark a little bit up higher. And you know, if you get a little on your white line, it's not, or your light line is not white, it's not a big deal. Those are just guides. We're going to be adding color on top of everything, right? Deb says, so pretty, my first time to see you. Well, hi, Deb. I'm so glad you were able to join. I caught the very tail end of yours. And then I was like, I'm going live now. I can't stay and watch. You know how that is. So if you're new to me, I got to tell you, I tend to mix my style up a little bit. Recently, I've been playing and teaching a lot more kind of some of the fine art style techniques. I can just as easily switch into kind of the more whimsical, cutesy stuff, but I'm finding that, well, I don't know. My interests are all over the place, so you definitely get a whole range of stuff when you're doing projects with me. Lisa Jo says, ooh, this looks awesome. You'll come back and paint this later on. So don't forget to get the tracer, Lisa Jo. 855-737-2245. Text me. If you text oh, you guys, you have to text the word fling. Duh. I'm supposed to say that. You have to think. So is this a traceable? Yeah. So Melissa asked, is this a traceable? This is, yeah, this is a tracer I provide. You just need to text the word fling. There we go. You have to text the word fling to 855-737-2245. When you text fling, it will automatically send it to you. If you don't text the word fling, then it'll just sit there in my box. So yeah, get yourself the tracer. You can download it. It's going to be for an 8x10. And then you just print it up. And what I also do when I create these things is I put a little box around it so that you can cut it out and then it fits exactly to the canvas and there's no trying to figure out exactly how it all gets stuck there. Let's see, Shelly says, I must be tech challenged today. What was the text? The word to text for tracer is fling, like spring fling, just the fling part. You know, it's funny. I was sitting there like, okay, what's the best keyword? I was like, well, spring, no. Cactus, well, it's not really a cactus. Succulent, just no. Just no. Succulent is way too, like, that's too hard to text. So I was finally like, all right, we'll use the word fling. That makes sense. And then, of course, what do? I forget to even tell you. Like, duh. It's okay. It's okay. I was up till 2 in the morning. It's not normal. I am so almost done with my master's thesis. I'm getting my MBA. Why? I don't know. So I can start an art business. Oh, actually, it's the art. There was the MBA that got me starting the art business to just learn how to run a company. And now I'm like, this is what I want to do. But we were crunching numbers late into last night, trying to come up with like the final brief. But the presentation went well, and so I'm like super wired today. So if I'm like, woo, extra hyper, you guys just know I'm a little hyper often, but a little extra hyper today. Okay. Oh, and then I'm going to add a little bit more depth out here, and I ran out of purple, so let's add some more purple. Well, welcome, Melissa. You said you're new here, so I'm so happy to see you. Oh, Deb, thank you. I'm really excited about this program. It's been 2 years, and I'm kind of ready to have my life back. All right, so I'm going to put extra purple kind of in these more background areas. In fact, I'm just going to kind of hunk and chunk it on. Again, I'm not being overly accurate about that purple. I like it when little bits of the orange peek through. In fact, we like it so much that make sure little bits of orange peek through, and then we'll come over it with our fluorescent red and make it go kapow, which is super fun, right? Because then it gets like really bright and vibrant. Okay. Bum, 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 bum. Okay, so anyways, in the body of this live, if you're watching directly from my Blue Cat Studio page, as opposed to the group, there's a link to join the Spring Fling if you want to. You can just pop in there, and then that'll allow you to see all the other artists who are presenting as well. Okay. Did I paint over? Oh, I didn't. It's fine. All right, so we've got the purple around the background, so now the succulent's actually starting to pop through. So again, we're still a little bit in the, it's a little ugly. I don't know. Is that the right word? It doesn't look good, but it's okay. It's not going to look good for a while. Holly says, I gotcha. No pauses, different view, but smooth sailing looks pretty. Cool. Well, hopefully it comes fairly smooth as we go. Okay, where did I put my reference, you guys? Oh my goodness. So I had it in my lap. Oh, here it is. It fell on the floor. So for those of you just joining, this is kind of what we're working on. Just so you can kind of see. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and begin to build out the external parts. So we're going to pause on the purple. We're not done with it. I'm going to come back to it. I'm just going to offload my brush on like my junk mail or old textbook that was not part of my program. I'm not rinsing. We don't need to rinse. Let's grab our mermaid tail teal. If you don't have mermaid tail, if you've got any kind of like a deep turquoise from like Artist's Loft, this is a level 2 somewhere. I think I put it away because it was driving me crazy. You can also get the turquoise from Golden. But I'm looking at these deeper colors as opposed to the lighter colors. You see the difference there? We really want the deep, intense turquoise. So this one is bar none my favorite mermaid tail. I don't think Michaels carries it, but Hobby Lobby does. And so just like, yes, please, yes, please, yes, please. Okay, so we got a little bit of white. We may want some blue at some point too. We'll come back and think about that. So let's go ahead and grab this teal. We're going to begin to kind of come around and add some color here. Just start to fill in. Again, you don't have to be perfect. In fact, here's what we're going to do. We're going to kind of frame that deeper purple. And if you go over some of it, that's fine too. You don't even have to do a good job covering it. Can you see, hopefully you can see, how that purple peeks through a little bit and it creates a little bit more depth. So keep it like thin coats. Just kind of starting to fill out the teal. Oops, I'm going to save that under section here. And this one definitely wants some of the teal, so kind of filling out outside and then lighter coating on the inside. Notice I'm not going with thorough and perfect and amazing. Melissa says, I love the picture in the back. Oh, thank you. This is my Eiffel Tower one. And she says, this These colors are my vibe. Oh yeah, mine too, girl, mine too. It's like I cannot escape mermaid tail no matter how much I try. In fact, yeah, I've tried to do some paintings and I want an intense teal, even the high-end colors, and I'm like, I just keep coming back like, no, I just want mermaid tail. I'm sorry, it's all I want, mermaid tail. But I love how this purple kind of slightly tones the teal. And, you know, because you guys are pretty avid, you know, artists, you like to watch online painters, you know, we could keep it light and easy, but I feel like at some point you also really kind of enjoy learning some of the other techniques and kind of getting outside the standard, like, you know, we're just painting one thing over the other and blah, blah, blah. So I'm hoping that we add a little, you learn something new here, even if it's not what you expected to learn, that you're kind of like, oh, hey, I never thought of painting that way. So again, you can still see that I am just scrubbing that color in. And I'm just kind of tipping the top of that scrubbed in purple. And my purple looks almost brown or orangey. It's not pretty yet, but that's okay. And when the teal gets too thick, I actually rub it in because I want the purple to peek through and have a little bit of an influence on my teal. Yeah, so I painted this a couple times this morning, and the first time I was trying really, really hard to like mix with all the high-end colors, but I don't know what's going on. My paint was drying so fast, it was making me crazy. And I couldn't get them to go vibrant, so I was like, all right, I'm spoiled by my craft paint, so I'm just gonna come back to my craft paints and do that thing. Again, you can see I'm almost going on kind of sloppy style, but it's fine because we're building layers. We're building colors, keeping it interesting here. Pulling some of that teal down on top of the purple. I didn't do such a good job right in here, so we'll just get a little bit. I'm going to keep going. You know, I really like craft paint in so many ways because it coats the canvas a little bit more easily. Some of the heavier body stuff is just so thick, you feel like it just kind of stops along the way and it doesn't drag. So there's some outside areas that we're not going to paint with a teal. We want those to stay purple. And I promise, we'll come back to that. Holly says, you always have a unique perspective. I love it. Oh, thank you. All right. I'll tell you one thing about this project. Sometimes my brain just goes, is you have so many different, like, whatever these are, petals or leaves going on, that sometimes my brain gets a little overloaded, and I'm like, yeah, I just kind of freak a little. So it is nice in that case, you know, to sometimes just establish some rules, a rule of thumb. It's almost like, you know, where's the shade coming from? If it's going to be coming from the upper right hand corner, then you know, or the light is coming from the upper right hand corner, then you know that everything to the lower left is going to be shaded. And sometimes, you know, when I just set a rule like that, it makes it easier for me to kind of ad lib and not worry quite as much about being perfect and just have fun. So we do always, when we make art, we use a lot of creative license. All right, and I'm just going to kind of go teal behind this guy. I think there's a petal there. Shall we say there's a petal there? There's a petal there. Maybe there. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Now I'm going to take a little bit of white. And if I get a little purple in it, no biggie. And my teal, and now we've got a lighter color. So you can see that I've got my dark teal, mermaid tail, and now I've gone light. It's going to be probably fairly simple to Bahama Blue, but why break out another bottle when you can just use what you got, right? Okay, good. Just checking. So I'm going to kind of come in right along here and add some kind of highlights kind of right up next to my purple lines. This still looks very piecey, right? That's okay. It looks like we've sort of pieced together a thing, and it's kind of stripy, and if you're looking at it thinking like, oh my gosh, Wendy, what are you doing? It's okay. I feel you. We're going to get there. Now I've done a little bit. I'm gonna now bring my brush back into the teal, and I'm gonna kind of scrub a little bit more transition. Get a little bit of teal in there and kind of scrub a transition. That's gonna soften that so it's a little less stripy. But you can't go and do the whole darn thing with the light and then come back with the teal because it'll dry and then you can't really scrub. And this is one of those things where you gotta scrub, you gotta scrub. Trust the process, that's right, Holly, trust the process. Wiser words never spoken. I know, even sometimes I forget to trust the process and I start to panic. I'm like, oh my gosh, how am I gonna bring this around? But in the end, you can do this. You got this. Okay, so coming back, my lighter teal, that's just the teal with the white. I'm gonna keep going, and this section right here is just a beautiful light. I need to change things up. I got a new chair, or rather my son, I got him an office chair, and it had arms, and then he got took the arms off because he didn't like the arms, and he threw the arms away, and then he comes down and says, Mom, I need an office chair with arms. And I'm like, yo. So I traded him, let him have my office chair because I don't really care about arms. But everything's just slightly different with this thing. And I'm like, I'm figuring it out. Okay. Hey there, Sharon. Welcome. Thanks for watching. Okay, so I'm taking more of this light green, and again, or not light green, the light teal, and we're kind of repeating the process that we just did with the others. We're bringing some of that lighter teal kind of at the tips in just a few spots. Now this is actually a folded petal right here, where it kind of cups. So this is the underside. We don't have a lot of those, but we do have some. Oops. Looks like I need to mix a little more. So it's just mermaid tail teal and white. So I've done a few. I'm going to come back in with a regular teal and kind of do that blend. And for this one, we're doing a lot of just kind of on canvas blending. And we'll be bringing more purples back in a little while. Yep, all right, that guy started to dry. He's not playing nice today. But as you can see, it's starting to kind of fill out and make sense. It's starting to kind of resemble a succulent. Yay! So if you want the tracer, all you need to do is text the word fling. Here we go. F-L-I-N-G, fling. You can't even see that. Who's a big dork? Me. Here, text the word fling to that number right there, and you can get the tracer, this guy right here. That way you don't have to try to hand draw this, because I don't know, I feel like this was complicated. You know, and getting the perspective right, that can be kind of painful. So let me help you with that and just provide a tracer, right? All right, now this one here is another. So we have a couple of weird petals kind of towards the center. As it opens out and spreads out, they tend to get a little bit more, more regular, more predictable, you know, simpler. But the ones that are kind of cupping upwards, you get all the weird perspective. And so these right here, we're really looking straight down, almost along the tops of them. So let's see. Since I'm here, we will get a little lightness in this section here on, whoopsies. I'm gonna add a little teal to that. And just kind of scrubbing the paint. Gonna need more mermaid tail in a second. Then we're gonna kind of get some along the outer portion. So this is all one petal. And we'll get better definition on it in a little while. And then this one here, because it's almost at a different angle, it's going to be very light. So we're going to kind of add a whole lot of that bright, light turquoise. And again, that's just the mermaid tail teal with the white mixed in. And then this one is going to be almost all dark. We'll add just a little kiss of the teal, just a little kiss of the teal, kind of right around the tip, up below the purple part. And then just a little kiss with this guy. He needs more dark. And this guy, he's gonna need a little, well, we're gonna have to darken this guy up too. It gets a little amorphous there in the center, a little bit complicated. All right, so now we're gonna take some of that darker teal, the mermaid tail again, and just kind of blend it. I need more mermaid, I need more. So this is kind of fun. I'm working in a somewhat narrowed palette. So I maybe mix kind of an in-between. So if this is the pure tail and this is the light tail, this is kind of the medium tail. There we go, kind of create kind of a transition teal there. Transition teal, little transition teal here. But leaving a little bit of the dark kind of around in this zone here. And we'll tune this guy up right in the center. That center, at least in my opinion, is kind of the more frustrating, harder part. And maybe I'll take my transition teal and kind of do some of it right here. Just like so. Take my light teal, kind of create the outer portion. Then just kind of blend those, blend those together. Don't be afraid to finger paint. If things go funny, just finger paint. So I think I'm better off to do the lighter colors at the top and then add the other colors on top. Add the lighter colors after is what I'm saying. Yeah. We'll add some brightness right here in this corner. Hey there, Brenda from Wisconsin. Nice to see you. Thanks for joining. If you're interested in getting the traceable design for this, I'm offering it. Just text the word Fling, F-L-I-N-G, to this phone number right here, 855-737-2245. Hopefully you can read my writing. I can paint, but I sure as heck can't write, and I sure can't hand letter. Probably because I'm just too impatient to learn. But you know, not a words person. Spreadsheets are my love language, spreadsheets in color. Okay, so again, I'm going kind of step by step because I don't want my paint to get too dry. So I do this lightened mermaid tail teal with a white, and then I take some of the straight mermaid tail and I just kind of come in and kind of blend and work, kind of create a transition. And again, always don't be afraid to finger paint. Finger painting is a little bit cathartic. And that just helps create like a nicer blend so it doesn't look like super stripey and stuff. Hamidu says really great. Thank you so much. I'm glad you caught this live as well. It was fun interacting with you the other day. What was that? It's Tech Tuesday? Yeah, Tech Tuesday. Oh yeah, so for those of you who are just joining or fairly new, we try every Tuesday evening to do a Tech Tuesday where I cover some portion of like a painting technique or whatever. And it's kind of more about learning. Most of the time I end up doing a complete project, but sometimes, you know, just as a way to show how to apply it. Like, I don't know, this last week, I was like, yeah, we're just going to look at what it's like to underpaint, which we did today, right? We underpainted with orange. And I ended up like showing off 4 different styles, and we had like this whole cute bunny thing. And other times we've talked about, you know, like different elements of composition. So if you're stuck or you know you want to do like, I don't know, a sailboat, but you're not sure how to set it up so it looks good. We've kind of gone over some of the different techniques for creating a composition in a way that is visually pleasing. Okay, so I'm just going to pause for a minute and take a look at where we are. Obviously, we're still kind of roughed in, but you can see the orange peeking through, which I don't know, I really love the orange peeking through. But I'm also one of those weirdos who orange is like my favorite color. Oh, hey there, Carol. She says, very pretty. Thank you so much. You know what I see? I missed a spot here. I'm going to add a little bit of the, oops, that got too late. So I've got a lot of paint on my brush. We're going to do our magic trick called offloading. So grabbing some junk mail, old textbook, something that you are okay to get paint on, or you know what, even like an art journal or a junk journal that you plan to paint over. These make some of the most beautiful pages, and honestly, some of my most favorite art really occurs in my journal where I'm just over painting, like from offloading my paint. So it's also a nice way to make you feel like you're never wasting paint, which I kind of love. I hate wasting paint. Let's change the program here. It's time to bring some quinacridone magenta to the party. So this is my #1 most favorite. Oh, seriously? I've been using this guy and he's always been like squeezing too much paint out. I guess I finally killed it. All right, so quinacridone magenta. There is just no such thing like this other than this guy, right? It is totally the very best color on the planet. So I'm just going to take some of that. I haven't rinsed my brush, and I'm going to kind of pull it over here. Maybe grab a little bit of mermaid tail teal, not too much. Blend it in to create like a deep violet. You could also use this guy, but I feel like the mermaid tail and the quinacridone just make a wonderful color. And I'm going to kind of plumb it out by adding more of the magenta to it. Holly says the orange peeking through doesn't look like background showing anymore. It just looks like another layer. I know, that's the point. So I'm going to come back in with that sort of plummy color I just mixed, which of course is the quinacridone and the mermaid tail. And I'm going to kind of just go in these deep sections where we'd originally painted purple and come over it with a slightly richer version. I'm going to go kind of light. I'm going to hug those corners and like the little center sections, just kind of blend up. I don't want this to be super dominant. But in this zone here, all right. In this zone here, I'm going to kind of do a stripe here. All right, hold on 1 second, you guys. My light is flashing. It's going to make me freak out. I just need to make one tweak that'll fix that. Okay. Have you guys ever noticed that if you get like the dimmable LEDs and you put them up too high, like they hit a point and they just start like flickering like crazy? For the longest time, I'm like, my house is haunted. And I was like, oh no, it's just LEDs. Wah, wah. Okay. So let me see here. We have got, all right, so we're going to get a little bit more purple kind of right up in the center of this one here. And then I'm going to get some deeper purple kind of in the middle here. I may need to tweak a little bit of this center section with a smaller brush, but we just want to get a little something to, but because we're looking straight down the petal, there's going to be kind of like these deep troughs of darkness. That sounds really fantastic. Deep shadows. So again, it's kind of like right where the petals or the leaves meet, and tuck under the other ones is where we're kind of adding that extra. And anywhere that we kind of got that purple in the first place, we're going to bring just a little bit more on top. And now we have the privilege of allowing some of like the teal, the mermaid tail teal to show through. And again, if you get a little bit over onto your white outlining, that's fine, because that is really kind of just basic rough sketch for now. And this really is an iterative process where we're building. Oh, I'm almost out of color. Let's just make a smidge more. So some of these like little interstitial, that's a favorite word. I'm just gonna say it. Interstitial. These in between spaces. In between the leaves and whatnot. Getting that little extra depth and pop of color is nice. So again, we're just kind of adding a little bit back. But it's much easier because we already know where that darkness is, and the sketching it in was really, really helpful. So again, if you are wanting me to interact with you, because I know we're live in a couple of places, you do need to click directly on the video and comment directly on the video. so that I can see your comments. And I do absolutely love chatting with you guys. So I definitely encourage you to chat and post any questions or whatever in here. If you haven't gotten the tracer yet, or you're still thinking about it or wondering, just text the word fling, F-L-I-N-G, like spring fling, to this number, 855-737-2245. I figure if I say it enough, I'll actually memorize it. But at this point, I still have to actually look at the thing. Okay. And if you are in the inner circle, that's my premium membership. I posted a link inside that group so you guys could get it. If you're not in the membership yet and you're interested, let me know. You can comment waitlist or mailing list or whatever works for you. And I'll come back and make sure you can see it. Ooh, wow, okay, it's just a small little happy accident happened. We're gonna go with this. So I have a tiny bit of like this tealish, the light teal, white on like up here in the ferrule of my brush, and it mixed a little bit with that kind of plummy color, and it was really pretty. So I'm gonna do that on purpose. I'm gonna make some light teal and just kind of bring it, I don't know, just a touch of that white in here and a touch of that teal. And now we've created like a lighter purple. I'm gonna kind of scrub little bits of that kind of in the transition here into the teal, and you can kind of just dry brush dot it in. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just adds a little bit of richness. Oh, we need some here. And again, you can still see that lots of that purple, not the purple, the orange is kind of peeking through. Pam says, love your choice of colors and that you're not required to purchase a multitude of paints. Girl, that is how I roll. Like, I hate it when I've got to go, like, I'm like, oh, I want to do this project, but I just don't have that color. So I promise you, if you're with me and you have mermaid tail teal, dioxazine purple, this one, the ultramarine blue, the yellow daffodil, specifically the daffodil from Folk Art, no other yellow will do, and quinacridone magenta, you're like 99% of the way there. Then any old random orange, some good brown, you know, for fun, sometimes we do one of these. Bahama blue is another one I use all the time. Because what I found is that, I don't know, I love mixing color. Like I always have. The first time I really did it in college, in an architecture class of all things, like when I realized I could actually almost perfectly match any color that was given to me with just basic paints, I was like, oh, I'm addicted. Okay, let's see. So Susanna says, what type or brand of paint am I using? Okay, so I'm mostly using craft paint. Deco Art Americana, these are the ones I've got to hand. Maybe you asked that like while I was talking about it or right before I was talking about it, I don't know. My magenta is the Liquitex Basics quinacridone magenta. This is the onlyest, bestest one. And in terms of yellow, I like the Folk Art yellow. I cannot find any other that's just amazing. Oh yes, Holly says fluorescent pink. Yeah, I'm a fluorescent pink fiend. I love the Deco Art stuff, the multi-surface neon, or anything that's a big jug, right? Fluorescent pink is also one of those colors that you just cannot mix, cannot replicate. It's also why I tend to be more of a CMYK, which is cyan, yellow, magenta, black, only no black. I'm more or less against black paint. Okay, so now we've got some good blocking in. We've got some really bold, contrasty colors. I want to keep going, kind of find some more medium ground. So I'm going to grab some white, plop it right into that purple. Notice I'm just mixing directly into where I was working already, because I want to pick up, and we have barely rinsed our brush, if at all. So now do you see how I've got kind of a tealy purple there? So we went from kind of a plummy to sort of a lighter violety plum, and now I added some more white and some more teal to kind of create an in-between. And we can just kind of bring some of that into a few spots here. And I'm just going to kind of... So I was thinking we were going to use ultramarine. I feel like we've mixed enough purple and blue colors that we may not need to use the ultramarine at all. We'll see. This is just going to help kind of transition. And if you feel like that's too purpley and you want it a little more teal, you can just modulate your tones by adding a little bit more. And so when you look at this up close, Like it's actually pretty chunky, but as you zoom out, the colors really blend. And I love it when you can kind of chunk colors together and they kind of tell a story. I have a few spots here where I don't have perfect coverage with my paint and little bits of orange are peeking through. I'm okay with that. Now, if it was white canvas, I would be throwing a hissy fit and finding a way to cover it, which is one of the reasons that I cheat a little bit. It's not cheating, it's just a technique, right? Where we paint the background orange. Because then if a little bit of orange peeks through us, that ain't no thing. Okay, so again, just kind of having these transition colors, and that helps the eye kind of go from purple to dusky to teal. And let's see here, just checking the reference. I'm gonna do a little bit of that in here. And if you don't have a perfect mix, perfect blend, and your colors kind of waver all over the place, it's really not the end of the world. It's a-okay. And let's see. That's gotten a little bit too tealy, so we'll add a little bit more purple. I feel like I want a paint pen to get that part right. I don't know if I can do it right. I can do it. I just... Okay, so mixing some more of the lighter color. Come in here. So I'm now going to go even lighter. I'm going to go white with just a smidge of teal. Again, I haven't rinsed my brush. I'm going to kind of just bring directly under that sort of purple outline. How are we doing on time? 51 minutes. Oof. Well, I guess this is bigger, so it is going to take a little bit more time. We've got up to 90 minutes, so I feel like we're still doing pretty good. Again, if you want the tracer, text Fling to me, and here is my text number. And I think it's also, I didn't put it in the comments, but I can. So just adding a little kind of like highlighty colors. We want to kind of pop bits of this. But I do feel like we're kind of finally coming together here. The pieces are beginning to jive. And we want the lightest bits to be right up against that kind of light purple outline. No, I got that part already, huh? Let's see, where are we at? A little bit more here. I love how limited a palette we're getting away with. I feel like we're getting away with it, you know what I mean? That was intentional, I swear. But sometimes I feel like it's almost like we're cheating. But we're not. Pam says, your use of transition colors is teaching a lot about shadows and texture. So happy to not have to change the water so much. Amen. I do not like changing the water. In fact, we have not rinsed. Look at that. My rinse water is still perfect. Weird. Sometimes we have to rinse. Oh wait, I must have rinsed something. What did I do with my brush that we primed this? Oh, I maybe killed my brush. We'll see. I'm gonna rinse that guy. All right, well, here I was thinking I was awesome because I hadn't used my rinse water at all. But in fact, I just, you know, was feeding my brush to the dogs. That's how that went. Okay, lighting. Okay. Just little highlighty bits. A little bit in here. A little bit lighter here. Okay, and now, all right, this middle piece. This one always gets me, I tell you. So I'm going to kind of come in and lighten through here, lighten through here. All right, that's good. I'm going to offload this brush. And now let's come back in with our purple. You love the depth we're getting. Thank you, Melissa. It's pretty fun, isn't it? Okay, so I've got a touch of white here. I'm going to grab a big old hunk of that dioxazine purple. The white is just to ensure coverage. And it's just going to give it a little bit more lack of transparency, opacity. I'm going to pop that in here. Again, you can leave a little bit of the orange outline showing if you like. I do feel like this color is a little bit lighter than I'd like, and that's fine. I can always go over it, but I just don't, I'll just grab some straight up purple. I just don't want it to be brown anymore. I want it to feel purple and then orange. Separate, not together. So we're just kind of filling in little bits of the background area to kind of, I feel like turning this part here, I guess that's a petal. I guess I better fix that. I kind of forgot that section, didn't we? We'll just kind of smush it with some light purple, and I think we get away with it mostly. It's not perfect. I'm not perfect, obviously. Here, we'll just kind of smush this guy. Make it look like I meant to do that. By the way, make it look like you meant to do that. That is 99% of painting, my people. It's having the chutzpah to get away with it. Okay. All right, coming together pretty well. Offloading my brush again, just to give it a second. I think I may want to come over these external parts with some quinacridone magenta, but I need to let it dry first. So we'll squeeze a little bit more. All right, now I'm gonna just take that my buddy quinacridone over here, grab a little plop of that purple, whatever I got left. Just a tiny bit of purple for the quinacridone to deepen it a little and just kind of come in around here. Oh, I've already painted on my little text sign. Well, you know, no plan ever survives contact with the enemy. That's what they say, including my texting sign. It's just paint though. All right, I'm giving up. I'm just throwing the quinacridone directly on over that purple. Again, that just intensifies. I want a little bit warmer, warmer in the background. Yeah. And Melissa says, love the depth you're getting. Or maybe you already said that, didn't you? Okay, sorry. I already said you said that. Okay. A little something in here. Okay. Let's get highlighty. Let's create the let's create those pinkish edges. Pinky purpley. They're already mostly there, but now we just want to really pop them. So I'm feeling like I am really done with this size brush. So offloading and rinsing. And I'm going to go down to something smaller. I think that fine liner I had earlier was way too small. So we probably need to step it up just a smidge. Somewhere in between. Let's see. What do we got? What do we got? Okay, we'll do. Okay. So again, text Fling if you want the tracer, if you're just joining us. I have this guy, is around, it's like half the size of the one I was using before. I don't know if you can see that. No, you know what, I'm gonna go smaller. I must have a smaller one in here. I just brought all my brushes back from my little cleaning station. Where's my in-between guy? Oh, no, that guy never gets a point. All right, the one I'm thinking of, I'm not seeing. Oh, here it is. Here we go. So again, if you want the tracer, text me, Fling. This guy, there we go. This one with all my little mermaid stuff, the fish scales, he cooperates nicely. These gold ones don't cooperate quite as well. Okay, where is the fluorescent orange? Fluorescent red, fluorescent red. We're grabbing some fluorescent. It is time for some fluorescent. So nice little pop. If you don't have fluorescent red, but you have fluorescent orange, quinacridone red and fluorescent orange, or quinacridone magenta and fluorescent orange actually get pretty darn close to fluorescent red. But I just like fluorescent red because then I'll add yellow to make fluorescent orange. So you don't need both, you could just get one. So I'm going to kind of come in and in some of these spots where we already have the orange peeking through, I'm going to add a few plops of the fluorescent red. just to kind of bring some of that to the center. The one thing though about the fluorescent orange, fluorescent red, whatever it is, this bright color, is it dries kind of transparent. So what you're seeing now may not in fact be what we end up with. And so if we really are like committed to this level of insane color, then we have to consider adding a little bit of white to it. But it does go over that pale purple pretty well. I'm kind of trying to allow both. And if you every so often just kind of push down and add a little extra kapow, it is not the end of the world. And especially if you're adding that kapow kind of in the shadows. As weird as that sounds, when you add a little fluorescent to the shadows, it just makes your shadows feel vibrant and poppin'. I learned that actually by looking at some of the Peter Max paintings. I don't know if you've seen his stuff. His work is just really, really vibrant. And I remember like looking closely and trying to understand what he did, because I'm like, I didn't understand how he got to his colors at all. And it was just, and I finally realized he put all the brightest colors in the shadows, not the light ones, but the bright ones. And so I tried that and was like, oh my gosh. So don't be afraid to go out there and check out what other people are doing. You know, try it, learn something, and you'll apply it in your own way. So again, I'm just kind of popping the existing orange with the with whatever this is, the fluorescent. And then a few spots. Okay, so now I'm going to grab a little bit of white. I've totally got fluorescent red on my thing, and it's fine, because I want to then kind of create like a lighter peachy, corally, very, very vibrant color. Holly says, is that always the case in the Advent Ornament Challenge? You struggled with fluorescent red. It was deco art. I didn't know if deco art had a fluorescent red. I cannot vouch for it. The only fluorescent red I like is the Liquitex Basics. Actually, the Blick student ones, they also have, hold on, let's see if I can find it. Let's show you guys. It's also pretty good. The Blick Acrylic Economy Fluorescent True Red. This one's also pretty phenomenal. I really like this one. It's not as thick and the coverage is not quite as great. This is the one I originally started using, but then when I realized I had to, you know, actually explain to people what I was using and tell them what it was, I found this one was easier to spec out, because you can always find it at most of the hobby stores, whereas this one you have to go to Utrecht or Blick Acrylic to get. And so I don't like it when something is like a single source. That's frustrating to me. Okay, so now we have this kind of, and I like this one better anyway. But it is transparent, right? It's very, very transparent. That's why I just added some white. So now I have this sort of peachy color. And we're going to add a little highlights kind of in a few spots over parts of the purple. Don't cover all of it, but all right, I'm just going to keep mixing this stuff because it's going to go fast. You know, just some kind of level of peachy, whitey, fluorescent reddy something. Just adding little bits. It can even almost just be dots. Keep it loose, my friends. It does not have to be perfect or beautiful. And in fact, so for this petal right here, because it's kind of a folded one, I kind of am putting a little bit more emphasis of that peachy whatever on. And you can kind of do a little overlap here and there, a little here. We want some of that purple backgroundy bit to show. But whenever you look at a succulent, you know, they're like in that kind of the green tones, and then they have that rich pink or red or magenta or whatever it is, you know, kind of in certain parts. So this guy is actually, this is one petal. This is one of those weird perspective ones. I'm going to add a little extra to the edge right along here. I don't know if I pulled that one off completely correctly, so it maybe doesn't stand on its own, but since we've got the rest of the flower to distract us, I feel like I can kind of be like, it's good enough. Then like little touches of that pinky kind of inside here, and maybe on a piece here, and maybe on a piece here. And I don't know if these things actually have stamen, but in one of my proofs, I actually added a stamen. I was like, I don't like how that looks. I think we're going to have to do that. I think we're going to have to do that. Hey there, Christine from North Carolina. What part of North Carolina? Are you inland or coastal? I love me some North Carolina. Half the time I can't decide if I prefer to be in the Smokies or OBX. I like it all. Whoop, almost dropped my brush. And there's Debbie from Texas. Hey there, Debbie from Texas. I love it when you guys say hi. It's so much fun. I tell you, painting's always more fun and feels less like I'm monologuing when you all chat with me, so I really appreciate it. I know that sounds silly, but it's so true. Okay, so we've added a whole lot of kapow to this, but I feel like you're kind of getting the sense of it, and even though, again, if you zoom like way in on this, the painting is a little bit rough, sort of big picture, you really can kind of see what's happening here. But I like it being a little, maybe rough isn't the right word. We're keeping it loose. So adding a little bit more here and there. I don't want to go overkill. I have a tendency to just get so excited about a color that I do kind of overkill it. All right, now I'm going to kind of grab some white. On my brush, I have not rinsed my brush. I still have the same stuff. I'm going to just kind of add some, like, blend the tips. So making sure you're keeping a little bit of that corally, fluorescent-y stuff on your brush. So it's not perfect white, it's going to be kind of blendy white. We're just going to emphasize a few of the edges a little bit more. Just a few kisses to kind of pull it together. Now if you have like paint pens or Posca pens, well, Posca pens aren't paint pens, but you could totally, go over this and add some kind of like sketchy outlines if you wanted to. I'm not going to do it for this one. But it's definitely a fun option and may in fact help kind of a little here and there with definition of a few bits. But that's going to be up to you. If you look at it, it's like, I like it just the way it is, I'm going to leave it, do that. If you feel like, yeah, it needs a little something, then do the something. Okay. So again, just the little pops of light, which will now really give it a little extra depth. But again, it's not pure white. I'm making sure that as I dip into white, I'm still keeping just a smidge of that fluorescent color on, but it feels almost white in comparison. I'm trying to go easy with it, but it kind of is, again, adding just a little extra emphasis in a few spots. And so when you're using the lightest color, you're thinking about like the little skinny tips that are all poking out. Those are the things that are going to be catching the light the most. Okay, so you're near Winston-Salem, Christine. Very cool. Don't know if I've been to that area, although I've definitely driven straight across North Carolina. One time we did like special vacation. The kids were like a week in the OBX. They were in Duck, maybe, with their dad's family, and then I picked them up and we drove to the Nantahala forest and went whitewater rafting and kayaking for a week, which was super fun. Love those outdoor sports. Okay, so again, just coming through and tuning and just kind of, so every once in a while, if you're not sure, you can kind of squint at your thing, look at it, step back. For me, sometimes I need to either stand up and actually look down on it, or I look at it on screen. Y'all don't necessarily have your stuff on screen, but sometimes a screen really kind of gives you, it's almost like squinting at it. It kind of tells you what's going on, and you can kind of make some calls. So based on my screen, I feel like I could get a little extra highlight in this edge here, a little something here. Yeah. All right, I feel like we're getting close to done. I'm happy to gladding it now. But sometimes it's these little tiny bits that kind of make it what it is. So you can really kind of make each of those tips brighter. And kind of spiky boy, as my kid calls them. They were like, hey, yeah, you could like you could paint my cactus. Take it live, Mom. I was like, I don't want to do a cactus. I want to do a succulent. Okay, let's call it good. I hope you guys had fun with this one today. Yes, Brenda. So for the tracer, if you text that number, 855 737, not 637, 737-2245 from your phone. You text the word Fling to that. It will automatically send you the downloadable link. Pam, no, the number I painted is, God, oh my gosh, it better not be incorrect. I'll be hosed. Let me verify that. Did you text the word Fling? F-L-I-N-G? Let me, oh my God, I just painted on my thing. Hold on. Escape, let me go check. Let me verify. I didn't mess you guys up here. It's brand new, so I'm still learning. All right. Okay, so if somebody wrote Fling please, it's probably not going to, it's probably not going to send you the thing. Let me see. Did it? Yeah. So if you texted me the word Fling please, if you just do Fling, then it will actually send you the tracer. Oh, that is weird. Was that me? Okay. Sorry, you guys. I'm just trying to take a look at that. But anyways, yeah, okay, so somebody texted me tracer. So yeah, Fling and it'll get you. Awesome. And I'll just get better at explaining this, right? You know, sometimes the girl just needs to figure it out. So I really appreciate you guys joining me. I hope you had fun with this. Hopefully we kept you kind of entertained and maybe you learned something. But when you're done, please feel free to post pictures or tag me. I absolutely love seeing what you guys end up doing, because you know what? Your individual take on this is going to be like so totally different from mine. And I love seeing your original stuff. Oh, Holly says, this looks great. It's some combo of dark and dramatic without being sad. Well, exactly. That's why we add the fluorescent red to it. So it keeps it like perky. We don't want to be sad. We want to be perky. Okay, cool. All right. I see. Okay, so Pam, you just texted me Fling. Did it send it back? Okay, it did. See? It sent you the thing. So you should have gotten the little tiny URL with the thing. So you should now be able to pull it down. You got it. Yay! My text thing is not broken. Y'all, I'm new. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm new to the whole texting thing. I'm not new to painting, obviously. So it's been so much fun painting with you guys. I hope you enjoyed kind of getting loose and adding some crazy color. And again, if you want to go to town on yours with Posca pens, if you have them, they can be really fun. And, you know, you could do like pinks. You could even add some green to this. I thought about adding some almost lime green to this, but I figured, you know what? We're going to keep it really, really simple. And again, if you have any questions, like later on, let me know. And yeah, I'm going to call it a day and start prepping, making dinner and getting ready for our evening plans with the kids. We're going rock climbing. So yeah, see you guys later. Have a good one. Bye. Let's see, we'll hit the button. Here we go.